there is a need to think beyond the user-centered design, right? So people have been talking about the user-centered design, always keep user in center. So in fact, we are going to discuss and touch upon some of the important aspect which needs to be considered in the current state of time as far as the design is concerned. And however, I have few examples as well, which we will discuss very briefly. And I also would like to hear from all of you about what you think based on some of the frameworks that we are going to discuss today. So let me share my screen.
Hello, sir.
Yes, yes.
Should we start by introducing first? Then can you start? We'll just introduce.
Introducing, you want me to introduce myself,
No,
or
we'll introduce.
but we have the other students as well from the other campuses. I don't know.
So we're
Uh,
actually live on YouTube right now, so we have a lot of viewers who aren't aware.
Oh, okay, okay,
hmm.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
So we'll start with the introduction and then you can proceed with the
Okay, okay,
yeah.
no problem. Sorry, I forgot to. Like, you should have stopped me before. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
So I'll start. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the entire NID Andhra Pradesh community and the Layover team, it gives me an immense pleasure to welcome you all to today's session. Layover, as you know, is a design dialogue platform created to bridge the gap between the academic and the professional worlds of design. It's a space for open, reflective conversations with inspiring voices from the design community.
We are honored to welcome Dr. Bhaumik C, former director of NID Andhra Pradesh and respected figure in design and technology education. With over 30 years of experience, Dr. Bhaumik has been associated with NID Nagar and NID Ahmedabad, contributing significantly to the evolution of design education. He has also collaborated with organizations like Bharat Electronics, Mahindra Finance, TSS ION, and NABARD. He is also a certified enterprise architect with a deep expertise in areas like e-governance, user experience, and IT strategy. His work often brings together system thinking and design innovation in meaningful ways. We are truly privileged to have him with us today to share his journey and insights. Please join us in warmly welcoming Dr. Bhaumik C. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction. Uh, okay. So, like as I was talking, today's topic is beyond user-centered design, and we are going to touch upon some of the new frameworks that has been currently used for designing the complex system. And in fact, the way we are surrounded with various objects in the environment near to us, in our hand, on our lap is a laptop, mobile, and a lot of other devices. Day by day, these devices are getting connected to each other. Yeah, whether it is the refrigerator or the curtains or the mobile or the laptop or the workstation, or even in next couple of years, the EV two-wheeler is also going to connect your mobile. So like you can connect your mobile as soon as you enter into your car. Your mobile gets connected with a lot of machines installed inside the vehicle. So we are slowly heading towards the more connected environment, and that is what is bringing the complexity when it comes to design. And it is very important that we have to come out of only user-centered design, which is where the core focus on the user needs that we put in, and the other aspect of the environment, the holistic view, the systems in place. There are other stakeholders other than humans, yeah, maybe the AI, the machines, the environment, the nature, the sustainability, and whatnot, right? So we have to step out of it and think beyond it to understand what all other aspects which are impacting uh, on design these days, and that is what we are going to discuss today. So there are larger issues today the globe is facing, that everyone knows. There are sustainability concerns and climate change and all of these things. But when it comes to business, how responsible the business organizations are these days, which are attempting to solve sustainability concern and the climate change when they are designing any solutions, right? Be it anything. We will discuss that when we discuss some of the examples. Since the penetration of AI in last couple of years, and the way the automation is affecting the relationship between technology object and human being is evolving, it is changing, and it is changing very fast. Day in, day out, the way we use technology for every small damn thing is also affecting how we live inside the house, how we live outside the house, what kind of friend network that we have, how many of them are virtual, how many of them are real. And then all of these things are bringing a lot of complex social interdependencies between people and technological components. And that is where these new perspective, which will help to understand when we design something, what all other areas that we have to look for more inclusive and equitable design solutions. And that is what we are going to discuss. However, in fact, I do not claim that user-centered design was a failure and all these things, right? So user-centered design was a revolutionary framework, which is still being used by many organizations. But it is a time to evolve our framework, because we are dealing with even more complex issues, challenges around us, and that is where these new frameworks have to be looked at. So we will try to touch upon what all design paradigms during the different era, and how it has evolved. What is more than human that we have to consider? So how we can bring those perspective when we design something. And the contextual intelligence. Contextual intelligence is every design solution is designed to work in a specific context, right? And in many cases, I have seen a wonderfully designed solution fails when a user uses it, because the context is not clear. Yeah, if there is a clarity in context, then probably the solution is the best fit solution for that specific context. And that is where understanding the context of a design solution is very important. I will share some of the hands-on applications, learning, some of the tools towards the end of the session, which probably will help you to be more productive in terms of the system thinking and design thinking. Probably when you ideate, when you are trying to collate the data and try to make some meaning out of it during your research. So this tool will help you in a big way when you are doing this research. I will try to touch upon the system thinking approach and how it is important to bring that perspective as well. And the most important is temporally aware design, right? So we will in fact discuss briefly that as well. What is temporally aware design, and why it makes sense these days in the current era that your design should be temporally aware, right? Because otherwise it may fail in few months, 1 year, 2 years. So how you are bringing the holistic view and a design solution which is temporarily aware, which will sustain there for the longer duration. So the evolution of design paradigm, in fact, you all have been, those who are in second or third year might have undergone some session from some faculty members understanding human factors and user-centered design. Yeah, and primarily human factor was used focusing on optimizing the human machine interaction, and the focus was entirely on the physical ergonomics and safety during that era from 40s to 60s or probably up to say 80s, 1980s. And that was mainly for the efficiency and safety. There was no focus of, in fact, user or the experience during that time. From 1980s onward, in fact, a lot of organizations started talking about the user needs and behavior and trying to integrate these in designing the solution, and that has really helped improving many design solutions, be it physical or digital. And still it has been a very powerful tool to design a very good user-centric solutions. And but what has happened after 2000, the penetration of internet technologies, social media, yeah, ease of accessing the information, yeah, ease of using the media, yeah, the reach of media has increased. So getting everything on fingertips has completely changed the thought process mindset of the people in last 15-20 years. And that is where, in fact, the birth of an experience design from after 2000, specifically after 2005, right after the inception of social media and internet, which gives more importance to emotional and experiential aspect of the design. And that is where you started looking at the entire user journey. Yeah, you are trying to do the empathy mapping of the user with respect to the journey that you have depicted. And it has been so wonderful in terms of using those tools to design the solution. But in today's time, in fact, we are facing that there are multiple stakeholders we have across time and space. Now, for example, your generation is the Gen Z, right? Before you, the millennials were there, and you can clearly see the difference in the mindset and thought process between Gen Z and millennials. Those who are in their 40s and 50s, you can see a vast difference. And those who are senior citizens these days, probably 60 plus, again, a big difference, right? So when you look at across time and space, the accessibility of various tools, the gadgets to the people, is really making a big difference in terms of how people see the entire world. And every user generally build a reality around him based on what kind of surrounding he is in, right? So probably in the family, in the relatives, in the friends, yeah, how much time you consume over internet, what kind of media you consume, that build the reality for you. And these traditional framework many times assume these isolated users, making these individual decision. But the reality is we are in the interconnected space, right? So interconnected space, for example, if you have a set-top box at home, for example, maybe Airtel or Jio, and if your set-top box is not working, what do you do? So probably what we do is if I have the Geo set-top box, I open my Geo app, and there is an option that run diagnostic. Yeah, it will identify the error, and I can fix the error from my phone. Right? Imagine if your parents probably are in 50s, yeah, they do not know about this, and if the set-top box is not working, yeah, probably for him, the same device is going to create a different kind of experience. What they may feel is this is useless because like hum kahin par baat nahi kar sakte, there is no user manual, this and that, right? So the reality is different these days because and everything has a cascading effect. Yeah, one thing lead to the other aspects. So why these traditional frameworks are insufficient? Because it ignores the systemic impact. In many cases, we forget to look at the holistic view of the entire solution, and missing the long-term consequences. Yeah, most of the organizations have a short-term thinking and goal because they want to make a quick money. Yeah, we will take few examples that how even the startup in India which have become unicorns, how they have missed and where they have missed these long-term consequences. Uh, and we generally create an anthropocentric view. Anthropocentric view is we look at only the human in the center, right? We do not look at the environmental considerations when we design something, and that is where I put the user-centered design as the most narrowed down framework in terms of, because it ignores the bigger picture, because you are trying to design everything around user only. You forget the long-term consequences. You forget if I change the context, yeah, whether my design solution will work or not. Yeah, if you offer them some complex environment, then probably your design solution may not be able to work in a smart environment. Yeah, and probably the anthropocentric design ignores the impact on the nature. So that is where we are looking at the climate change and sustainability have not been thought of while designing the solutions. So and the kind of uncertainty that we have these days around us, for example, we don't know what is going to happen in next 2 years in terms of the predicting the technology and the penetration of technology around us. It was a case, in fact, before the inception of internet, people used to predict for next 7 years, next 10 years, right? I have seen and read a lot of reports on World Economic Forum websites about the predictions for next 7-8 years. So all of these frameworks are designed based on their these thought process, wherein the problem solving is always been considered as a linear exercise, right? So you consider it linear, but these days the kind of complexity around us is a non-linear system. So do we really think that a linear problem solving can help us for a non-linear solution design? So, and that is where we end up making a lot of assumption, right? So you assume a lot of context, and based on the context, we focus only on the outcome of the design solution, right? So for example, if my solution works for 2 or 3 contexts, which are the primary context that I have considered for, and I have the predictable outcome for those contexts. I'm not thinking beyond that. Yeah. So, and we do not test the assumption as well, because it is very imperative that we need to test our assumptions as well. Now, if we look at the penetration of the technologies like AI, and the people have been talking a lot about it, right? But we will take few examples. I'll just show you how quickly you can design certain things which used to take months to design before a year or so, right? I'm talking only before a year. So how these technologies are penetrating around us, and why as a designer we need to look at these new frameworks that can handle the complexity, uncertainty, and interconnectedness. And it is extremely important for a designer to understand that. So that is where the birth of a system-oriented designs, a system thinking, right? So we look at multiple interconnected components. Yeah, we also have to look at the emergent behavior. The emergent behavior is the way your generation behaves and the way my generation behaves is completely different, right? And if we look at the people who are in 40s, the way they behave is completely different. And looking at the cultural diversity in India, if you're designing it for India, then we have to understand these emergent behaviors. So we cannot design anything in isolation. So we have to understand and map these interconnection. Unless we understand and map it, if we understand and then we do not map it, it is not going to be considered at all in our design. We have to map these interconnections. So I'll share a few examples towards the end, how to map these interconnections. What are the tools that you can use to map these interconnections, which can save your time, and how your understanding about the dependencies on various things, how these tools can help you. And that is where you design for emergence rather than trying to control and focus only on the outcomes. And that should be the focus of the system oriented thinking. So there are four things which I want to highlight is the community focused design, biomimetic design, convenience driven design, and autonomous technology. And these four things these days are really making a big difference as far as the solutions are concerned. There are quite a few solutions which are community focused, yeah, which is helping the community. These days, many organizations and startups are trying to replicate the way the nature work, right? So that is in biomimetic design, right? So you probably want to replicate the nature, and a lot of artists also are using the biomimicry as an installation, right? So which is an replication of your behavior in form of a biomimicry. So that also is happening. But if you look at the bottom two are the most dangerous things that we'll have to be extremely careful about: the convenience driven design and autonomous technology. And when any organization design only focusing on convenience and autonomous, it is going to be exploitative. And it is going to exploit whom? The user at the end of the day. Uh, and For example, like I know quite a few AI tool which can uh, write the content based on your predefined feeds, yeah, for you, and which can write the content, and which can also post in your blog. Yeah, so you just need to configure it one time and set the frequency. It can write the blog for you every week, post it on your blogging site as well. Now, if I want to convert that blog into a podcast on Insta or Facebook, that also it can do. It can also post it very frequently. So a one-time configuration for me as a content creator, as an convenience, it keeps on doing it for me, and without any intervention, I'll keep earning the money from all the posts that I'm making. And for user, probably they feel that I'm writing the content. Yeah, so these are some of the examples of convenience-driven design and autonomous technology, which are very exploitative in nature. And that is where the upper two boxes, the community-focused design and biomimetic design, are going to address the issues related to symbiotic design focus, right? So that is where we are more aware about the climate change, nature, the environment, yeah, the larger consequences and issues that we have to take care of. But the bottom two are the most dangerous one. And so how it is in fact changing, let me give you one example. I don't know whether yeah, so the example is my screen visible, or I have to share it again probably. Yeah, so yeah, it is visible now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so how technology is changing. So this is an example of UI design, since a lot of students these days are doing UI, UX, and these kind of stuff, right? So this is an Google initiative. This is the website wherein stitch.withgoogle.com, right? So this is an AI platform wherein you can design UI. Now I'm just highlighting what I have written to design these screen, right? So, and how much time it has taken to design it. So I have highlighted it here: design UI for a mobile app as an aggregator of plants and pots, seller in the neighborhood local region. It only shows the inventory from 10 kilometer of periphery, and delivery is done by the seller and buyer directly on mutual understanding. Payment is done online when both the parties agrees that the deal and delivery is completed. The money is transferred to their account. This is the prompt. This, I should not call it prompt. Yeah, this is the story that I have written. What it has created me is these four screens. There was no other brief I have given, right? And then it has suggested me this search screen. Yeah, the seller profile, the product details, the checkout screen, yeah, the transaction confirmation, and it has asked me, do you want to proceed with the designing of these screen? I said yes, it has designed, and then I asked the AI agent to create the home screen as well. It has designed the home screen. Now all of these got over in less than a minute. Now, if I want to make any change in the color, yeah, if I want to create a mood board and apply it here, yeah, everything is a matter of minutes here. And what I can do is I can edit as well. Yeah, I can copy these frames to Figma as well if I want to have a further customization. Uh, so what I mean to say is these are the example of the convenience driven design. This is what AI is going to bring to us, right? And that is very important. Like, this is only one example of UI design, and there are other examples for other domain as well. And once the artificial general intelligence, the agentic AI in next couple of years will start taking the driving seat, the scenario will be completely different. So that is where, in fact, it is a time wherein we have to look at more than the human design, and we have to understand the AI and automated system. Yeah, instead of uh, using AI just as a tool, it is a time that we have to use AI as a partner. right? And that is where, in fact, whether it is a product, it is a digital system or a phygital system, yeah, even if it is textile, in fact, textiles are also going to become smart in next few years. Yeah, the textile which is going to change color on its own. Yeah, there is only one shirt that I'll buy, and then every day the shirt may have a different color, right? So that is the kind of an world that we are heading towards, and that is the reason we have to think more than the human design. So always look at AI as a partner in design rather than looking at only tool, right? So most of the time I have seen students using AI as a tool in their academic project. Use AI as a partner, how you can integrate AI into your design solutions. The non-human stakeholders always has been neglected, whether it is animal, plants, ecosystem, environment, water, land, it could be anything, garbage, yeah, the administration, government systems. So always consider all non-human stakeholders. So recently we were designing, recently means 2 years back, we were designing one solution to protect the farmland from blue cows. Yeah, if you know blue cows attacks in 100 200 in numbers, right? And it can enter your farmland and it can destroy, like even if that passes by your farmland, it can destroy the entire farm. So how you can protect farmland from blue cows? So we suggested a solution wherein there is one specific audio frequency which is audible only to the animal and not to the human beings. And if we install some sensors and speakers which can detect the blue cows on the periphery of the farmland, and as soon as they detect blue cows, it starts playing those audio frequency, which is not audible to us, but it is very irritating for them, and then they go away from the farmland. The solution looks very simple. Yeah, it can be installed on a pole and this and that. But what about the animal activist? Yeah, what the laws says that you cannot play that audio frequency to protect yourself or your land from the animals. Yeah, so you always have to think that sometimes the solution looks very simple, right? So you can install, it is very simple solution. You just need the lead acid batteries and simple sensors and good quality speakers, and it can produce the sound which is audible up to 200 meters of range, and it is a simple solution, but you cannot do it, right? Because it is against the rights of the animal. You can, unless there is, even we could not test the system, right? So there are even not laws in India which allows you to test against the animal for using these frequencies. So always consider all non-human stakeholders. uh, and when you design any solutions, you have to understand the planetary boundaries. See, every solution has a planetary boundaries, and planetary boundaries are defined by respecting the resource limit with the organization, as well as how you can minimize the environmental impact. Like we'll take a couple of example after a couple of slides that will help you to understand how the planetary boundaries needs to be defined. And the fourth important thing is we always have to think about the future generation, what we are going to leave for them on the earth. So emphasize always on the long-term consequences of all the design choices that you are making for the future societies. And that is where the climate change and sustainability and all of these things are really making a big difference. So, and that is what called a true symbiotic design, which benefits human, the responsible AI with the help of technology and environment simultaneously, rather than optimizing alone for the humans, right? So that is where we have to step out of the user-centered zone and have to create a bigger picture. So so these days, as the technology is advancing very fast, and that is where the solutions, the life of a lot of products are hardly say 6 months, 1 year. Yeah, some product dies in a year, 2 year of time. Uh, so if the companies are aware that you just want to tap only for a year and want to earn profit, it is fine. But if your solution is designed for a long term, you definitely will have to consider so many things, right? So, and sometimes the product, like when your product or a solution, when it is used by any user, the temporally aware design can be scaled in multiple ways, right? So, for example, uh, if I'm using, say, any application on my mobile, and for example, Instagram, right? So, how much time you take to stop at some content or a reel and spend 5 seconds over there, and based on what you are taking this call, and some of the reels or a content that you scroll very quickly, probably less than a second you spend to decide whether you want to stay there or not, right? So the user interaction, the time that user spends with something is very important, and that is very important for a designer to understand, whether it is a product, whether it is a digital solutions, right? And what is changing these days is the new generation is losing patience, right? So probably if someone puts you in a difficult situation, probably 5 minutes in a difficult situation is a big time for you, right? And so these behavior change is very important that you have to understand, because we have been habituated for a convenience, and the way, for example, in fact, this example is yesterday's example I'm giving, right? So whether, I don't know whether it is good or bad to state here, but see, yesterday morning there was no milk at our home, so my wife asked me to go out and buy the milk. So since the shop was very nearby, but I was tired, I did not want to go, I opened Zepto, and I ordered 5 bags of milk from Zepto. Zepto guy came from 4 kilometers away. However, he has delivered in 9 minutes. It was early morning, 7 o'clock. Yeah, since I was a part of the offer, so I was waived off the delivery charge. I felt good that at zero delivery cost, I'm getting 5 bags of milk without stepping out of my house. Now imagine how these quick commerce is making a big change on the nature, climate change, globalization, right? So I could have stepped out, walked for 30 seconds. Yeah, it's just going down from my apartment and buy the milk, and someone who is coming from 4 kilometers away, yeah, he has packed all these 5 bags of milk in a nice plastic bag, yeah, and he has probably might have used 100 ml of petrol to come to my place. So look at these larger consequences, right? So probably, see, when businesses never will consider this, and when you work as a designer in a professional environment, you also will not be given a chance to look at it, this issue. But these are the perspective that one need to think of, right? What are we doing? And this, in fact, I consider this as a cultural shift as well, right? So because we do not want to go out, and we have an option, a convenience of quick commerce is there, we order it. But if it is not there, probably we would have stepped out of our house and walked a minute and buy the milk. So these cultural and social shifts are happening in a big way. And in fact, see, my generation is concerned about even paying the platform fee and convenience fee and delivery fee and handling fee, right? So these are the four fees most of the platforms are charging. And item worth of 100 rupees is becoming worth of 200 rupees when it reaches your home. And your generation probably is very comfortable in giving these 100 bucks extra, right? So shall we consider these as a social or a cultural shift, right? So and for our generation, probably we think that why should we pay 100 extra for an item of 100 rupees? So these cultural shift, this is only a quick commerce example I'm giving. So, and the same is happening in almost all products, right? The way you buy product, the way we buy product, or any other rural person buy product is completely different. That consideration of looking at the value in a product is different. And that is where one need to understand this cultural and social shift. And the long-term views that one need to look at the environmental and generational impact, what we are going to leave behind uh, for the new generation has have to be considered. So, and that is where we have to look at beyond the surface. Yeah. So. So as I was telling is how we think is shaped by our physical environment, right? So it is, but today's time is we spend almost half of the time on the screen. Yeah, maybe on Facebook, Insta, YouTube, and any other social media, internet. We are engaged on the screen, and that also is impacting how we think, and we don't know how that impact is going to results and what kind of results it will bring. But these cultural backgrounds are going to influence the user in a big way, the behavior in a big way, and which is creating these new social context, and that is where it is impacting our decision making, and that behavior one need to understand. And so we, in fact, when we put only the user in the center, we miss a lot of things. And since the symbiotic design, we are going to enter into a symbiotic era where a lot of interactions are going to be a part of our body in the next few years. And that is where when for example, if some of the gestures, so gesture is a wonderful technology, right, which is helping to solve many problems. But if, for example, if some public installations are there where some gestures are required to be made by the user to engage with the installation or a system, but if those gestures are not allowed in the society, in a public, right, not necessarily that kind of solutions will be accepted and adopted by the society. So we in fact have to create a larger picture and think of having a universal applicability of something. So this side I can skip. Yeah. So yes, some of the examples I was telling is will wind up in next 10 minutes. Yeah. So there are only few couple of slides that I want to talk about. So so there is a big gap between user-centered and system-centered solutions. And I have taken a very relevant example of, say, dating apps and fast fashion, yeah, Uber, Facebook, smartphone, and crypto platform, which are relevant to your generation of things. But if you look at the Facebook's news feed algorithm, right? So as a designer, you in fact whatever you use, you always try to step into how these things are working at the back end. So if you look at these newsfeed algorithm, initially it was designed to give users more of what they engage with, and that is the kind of an user-centered approach Facebook had when they design it. But how it is being used, if you look at the cases of this Israeli company of political polarization, of doing the analysis of the sentiments of the people, that towards which political party I'm inclined towards, by looking at my profile, the kind of content that I read. If, say, for example, if I like Congress, or if I like BJP, or if I spend more time on the BJP content and Congress content. So, like the Facebook can have all the information that whether I'm inclined towards BJP or Congress or any other political party. But these things is being misused, and these also the newsfeed algorithm is also being used for misinformation spread. And the focus, however, was the user satisfaction, but it has a broader societal consequences. And then Facebook had to do a lot of things, right? So because a lot of privacies, a lot of laws were not there. If you look at the Uber ride sharing platform, right? The cab booking, not the ride sharing platform. So this was again for the convenience. It was designed for the user, for the convenience. Those who cannot pay for the fully booked ride, I would like to share the ride with the other user. It has the competitive pricing, yeah, easy ride options, and all of these things, user-centered design. But it misses out on the taxi driver's livelihood. It misses on the urban traffic congestion, right? It misses on the labor rights issues, how taxi drivers are paid. Yeah, if they are working 14 hours, are they paid accordingly or not? And it has given a birth to a gigs economy for a long-term sustainability. And these, in fact, 6 months back, government of India has to now think of a policy for a gigs economy in India. Because if you see in last 3 years, the number of unicorn in India or number of startups in India, out of that 70% or 75% of the startups are in supply chain only, right? So which are delivery based service. Like you take example of Zepto, Porters, right? All of these, Zomato, Swiggy, right? All are supply chain based company. There is no technology invention focused companies, are relatively very less. The third example is the fast fashion app, right? The fast fashion app is, you get, because these days your generation probably use the cloth for 5 times, 6 times, and then you would like to throw it away, right? So you probably look for the low cost option. And Sheen was there, but Sheen was there in 2020s. They started, but recently in 2025, they have joined the hands with Reliance Retail, and it is optimized for the individual consumer desires as far as the cheap, trendy clothes are concerned, and it is delivered quickly, like a quick commerce. You order it. Because what they are trying to do is they are trying to create a very healthy network of a local manufacturer and suppliers, right, with respect to your so it's a wonderful solution. People probably like it, but we buy these clothes, we throw it away. Yeah, and if you look at, when you throw away your clothes, what happens to your clothes? Yeah, how much environmental impact these has. And to bring down the cost of these clothes, the exploitative labor practices the manufacturers have, yeah, and you end up looking at the overconsumption patterns of the user. Yeah, whether I want it or not, I keep on buying because it is cheap, it is affordable to me, right? So you see the overconsumption pattern. So these are the other side of the story, right? So like if you look at Uber riding, ride sharing platform, good. The other side of the story is different. So there are quite a few examples like this, right? So if you look at Amazon Echo or Google Mini Home, yeah, this was designed for the convenience, but it has a lot of privacy issues. Yeah, people used to tell that Echo and Google Mini used to listen your conversation all the time. Yeah, even if you switched it off, it can listen. So this is a new form of surveillance capitalism that is there. And the dating apps, for example, it's a wonderful example. A lot of these generation use this Tinder and Bumble. Yeah, and it is good for user preference and ease of matching, and excellent app, right? So it is so easy to use and all these things, but it has a larger impact on changes in the relationship formation. Yeah, the social isolation paradoxes are happening because of that. Yeah, and we are giving less weightage to our real friends, in-person relationships that we have, and these companies are commodification of these human connections, right? That they are trying to commodify it, and the outcome that were not part of the original user-centered design thinking, right? So they think that like establishing the connection between two unknowns for the shorter time is going to bring variety and a lot of things, right? So there was no user-centered design thinking when these apps came in market. Same is the case in cryptocurrency, right? So it has been used as in financial freedom and empowerment for the user. But if you look at the cryptocurrency platform, the kind of water they use, right, to run those infrastructure, to cool those servers is huge, right? So and it is in fact no one have looked at it, right? So no one, the blockchain technology is the kind of infrastructure requires for that. So it has a massive cost, massive environment cost these solutions have. So it is very important when we look at any solutions, when we are designing any solutions, try to build these various perspective which will help you to probably, we should not call it balance, this will help you to harmonize the solutions, right? And it is the role of the designer. So what can help? Now you probably have a lot of ideas, you probably have a lot of knowledge of some domain. Yeah, ideas, we probably call it concept, right? So concepts are nothing but the possibilities in which the solutions can be developed. If I have 5 concepts, I probably will say that there are 5 possibilities in which these solutions can go ahead with. So what are the tools then we can use to visualize these complex relationships? And there is one interesting theory called CK theory, and this CK theory has a tool as well. And this CK theory tool focused on mapping the concept evolution in design. C stands for concept, and K stands for knowledge. Yeah, so one side you have all your concepts as a possibilities, and on one side you have your knowledge library, and then you are trying to map something. So let me show you the entire screen. Yeah. I have opened the tab. So yeah, so those who are interested can visit the cktheory.org website. Yeah, so you just read it. I think it will change your perspective. We are not going to discuss about the CK theory right now, but this is an amazing tool to map your concepts with your knowledge space, right? So then the true out of box ideas can come out of it. So just try looking at it. Yeah, you will find many examples as well. Yeah, this is a wonderful resource that you can look for. Yeah, the other tool is the Giphy tool. Giphy is for data-driven network analysis. So this is an visualization tool. This is Also free. You can type giphy.org and you will be able to download this. However, you may have to spend some time to learn it, but these days learning a tool is just a couple of days, right? So you spend some time and you will learn these tools. This is also very good. The third tool is Kumu tool, this kumu.io. Let me open that. So see, many a time we face that we have collected a lot of data during our design research, and we are clueless how to collate these data, how to make meaning out of this complex data. So Kumu is a platform which will help you to organize these complex data into relationship maps, right? So this is where the interconnected maps. And when you visit these, like you just read few things and you will get to know that how these tools are amazing in terms of simplifying a lot of things. It has a wonderful gallery, this Kumu has, and you in fact will be able to figure it out in many different ways. These tools can help you in uh, making your design research more understandable, more interpretative, and more productive as well, right? So that is also a very good tool. Which one is left? Loopy. Yeah. So Loopy is in fact a simulation tool, which is whatever you think. In fact, the complex technological or any economic systems, if you want to make an interactive simulation of that, right? This tool is an answer to that. This is also an open source, except Kumu. Everything is open source. Giphy, Loopy, CK Theory, right? And so these tools are amazing, right? So in fact, see, when you create a system map, yeah, and if you want to do a stakeholder analysis, or if you want to do the impact mapping of your design research, if you want to understand the feedback of certain system component and trying to understand something, use these tools. It will make your life simple. So what has to be included? This is the last slide. What has to be included when you work on any design project, right? So it is always a call between balancing the positive impact creation with the potential negative consequences. Yeah, I always call it harmonizing instead of balancing, because balancing means you always consider the negative consequences and balance it, right? So that means you always will have the negative consequences as well. So always try to harmonize. Now, the 6 questions that are extremely important when you do any design project is always when you have the multiple stakeholders. First of all, step out of only the user-centered design, create your multiple stakeholder zone, and try to understand that where can you create the positive outcome for multiple stakeholders, right? So, and these multiple stakeholder does not mean only human, right? It is more than human. So what positive outcomes you can make? Many a time, a small change can create the big system effect. The reason is everything is connected around us, right? So when you're designing something, think of those leverage points. Even the small change, right? If you have the interconnected map of everything, you probably will be able to understand the cascading effect of this small change, right? Which can result in a big system effect. The third is the feedback opportunities. Extremely important these days. Most of the solutions which are currently been designed and deployed for the current generation and the next generation, the learning loops are extremely important, right? So how your system can learn, how your solution can learn from its own, and you have to find ways that how are you going to collect the data and how you are going to use these data to improve your system. At the same time, The negative side of it is unintended consequences, that what could go wrong if your solution fails. For example, what could go wrong, right? So that is where you probably will look at the safety and security related issues. If there are key component failure, what kind of dependency it has as far as the system is concerned, right? Where might interest of the various stakeholder clashes, right? The stakeholder conflict. And more and more interconnected systems means there are going to be more and more stakeholder conflict that is going to happen, right? So like if you remember 3-4 years back, Swiggy, Zomato was loved by people. It is doing amazing job and this and that, but since last 6 months people have started questioning, why are they charging platform fee, convenience fee, handling fees, delivery fee and tax separately. People have started questioning it. So see, the world is very complex, right? So out of these, what is happening now is Rapido is coming out as a new player for food delivery. They will be there in market in next 6 months. They are building the systems, and Rapido will be the food delivery aggregator in next 6 months. So see, the world is very complex because everything is interconnected. If you look at any quick commerce, is nothing but a supply chain, right? Whether it is Amazon, whether it is Flipkart, whether it is Zepto, whether it is Swiggy, right? Whether it is Rapido, everything is supply chain only, right? So those who are able to optimize the supply chain is going to win the race. So some of the key takeaways is design for interconnected. Hence, do not design for the isolated user. Include more than human. Consider environment, climate, global warming, whatnot, right? So animal, probably everything, right? So everything other than human you have to consider. Third is design across time, so account for the short-term and long-term consequences. You should know your design should be temporarily aware. Even during any advanced technology upgrades, your solution should work, right? Even after the disruption of something, your solution should become more stronger and stronger. That is what the kind of thinking that you should have. Embrace the context is extremely important, because every solution is going to be used in a specific context only, and that is where you have to understand the cultural, social and physical environment as well, because the world is slowly heading towards the ambient intelligence, right? So the species are also going to be intelligent. Build for the emergence, so create conditions for positive outcomes to emerge. Do not look at or probably do not focus only on the outcome of that specific moment or a specific context, right? So you have to build for the emergence, wherein user is given freedom to create new context, new scenarios, and use the same solution for various purposes. Measure holistically, so the beyond user satisfaction, so the user heuristic, if you know, this user heuristic has a set of principles, so it is beyond that, right? So the success metrics these days are beyond that, and that is where focus on the holistic design beyond the user centered. So thank you very much. We will take questions if anyone would like to ask any questions.
Thank you very much, sir. Now we all are open for the questions. Anyone has any question, you can please ask.
I should stop.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
So I had a question. When you were mentioning about convenience-driven design, you said that in today's world we should use AI as a partner and more than a tool. So what does it exactly mean by using it as a partner and not a tool?
See, I have seen say a lot of people who are using UI, they are not disclosing that they are using UI. So using AI inside the classroom, good. using AI to ideate good, yeah, but do not limit yourself only what AI tools are giving you as an output, right? So you have to build on top of it. Yeah. So use the AI as a partner. Now, for example, what is agentic AI platform? Like, so there are a lot of companies which are building the agentic AI platform. Is agentic AI platform are going to help you for a specific context. Now, for example, the agentic AI for buying the insurance. So how am I buying insurance right now? For example, I go to Eco app or Policy Bazaar or Bank Bazaar, and there are so many other players in the market. So I go there. I probably will have to find the appropriate insurance for myself, or maybe for my car or my two-wheeler. What if there is an agentic AI wherein I can tell that I have a say Maruti Baleno car 2018 model. It is a fuel type is petrol. Yeah, last 5 years I have no claims. Yeah, so I'm eligible for the bonus and this and that. And then agentic AI can help me with everything. So single input given to them. So you use it as a partner. So this is the time. I think next 2 years will be a time that the Indian market will be flourished with agentic AI around us. Yeah, and once the agentic AI is there, the next, I think after 2 years, the artificial general intelligence is going to penetrate, right? So, like, is one layer above agentic AI is the general intelligence. There are an AI platform which will be able to serve lot of like more than one domain, right? So general intelligence. So what is happening right now? Yeah, people talk a lot about AI. For example, how frequently we use ChatGPT or Copilot, and for what? Yeah, whether everyone is able to use it, probably no, right? And so Copilot, ChatGPT is of no use right now, and they are not even smart now, because that is the kind of an understanding that we have built in 6 months of time, that it is of no use. When it was there 6 months, 8 months, or 10 months back, right? When it was launched, people were waiting for Copilot, OpenAI, and all of these things. But what we are feeling right now is of no use. Yeah, so there are a lot of hype in the market, but what actually works at the ground level, that is very important for one to understand, right? So see, the entire industry is going to use AI, but when is difficult to predict. Yeah, what is a right time to use it is difficult to predict. Because if you see, for example, Apple, when Apple 13 was launched and recently Apple 16 was launched, what is a fundamental difference between these two phones? Apple 12 and Apple 16. Yeah, we upgrade our phone, but we ever looked at what basically has changed in the phone except the speed, the processor, the memory? What has changed? Yeah, a little bit of here and there in UI. Yeah, that's all. Nothing has changed. Yeah, if you look at, so see, the AI is a hype, right? And it is, I think we have to decide where exactly we want to use AI and how we want to use AI. And if we are using AI, we have to tell that we have used AI, right? But on top of it, there is nothing wrong in using AI. It is going to be a part and parcel of our lifestyle in the next few years. And as I shown you the Stitch platform, right? So there are quite a few platforms for UI UX. Yeah, UI UX is going to be the hit for the amongst all the design jobs. The first job profile is which is going to vanish in next 3 years is the UI UX. So like as I've shown Stitch, there is other platform called Relium. right? Volume platform is where you can tell that you want to make a website and this and that, and it can suggest you the navigation plan. It can offer you 10 different designs. Yeah, it can write the content as well within your web pages. Yeah, and then you, by writing the prompt, you can make the near to final version of the design. You export it to Figma and fine tune it, right? So you need not to bother about the size. You need not to bother about the cross browser compatibility. Yeah, you need not to bother about the brightness, contrast, yeah, alignment, size of the button, typo, yeah, errors, the fonts. Yeah, and you need not to bother at all, because these tools are going to take care of it. So always use it as a partner. These are some of the few examples which I have given, right? So these are the tools of the future, right? So which a designer has to use it. Yeah, probably why will you do a system mapping diagram on paper when you have an interactive tool to help you? Yeah, and these are wonderful tools. Like I have the full gallery of a lot of other tools as well, but I thought sharing these 5-6 tools at this point in time, these are wonderful tools, right? So this is really going to help you a lot.
Here, when you mentioned we can use AI as a partner, and like it can give you so many options, so someone else in the industry can also use it as a partner and then upgrade upon it. So like where do we stand with all of in all of this?
You see, always you probably are not going to submit what is been created by AI as it is, right? And see the role of, for example, there may be, I think you might have faced a lot of time that you're stuck somewhere. Yeah, you are not aware that now what is the next step, what will I do, yeah, in what direction I should go. And that is where you use AI to help you to understand what all possible directions that you can go. There is, what is wrong in that? Yeah, you are not blindly relying on AI, right? That one should not do. Yeah, that is where it is an like an co-intelligence, right? Partner is an co-intelligence for you.
Sir, I had a question.
Hmm.
So basically, 10 years ago when AI first came, we thought it would take up all the blue collar jobs. But then what was that fundamental change in the industry that it shifted to taking up all the creative jobs?
Uh, See, though creative jobs will not vanish, probably small companies may not be able to hire the creative people, right? So they will rely on the tools. And for example, the small companies will not hire UI UX designer. They will use these platforms like Volume or Stitch, yeah, or any other platform, right? There are many UI UX platform like this, which can help them to create UI in minutes, yeah, even less than a minute. Um, but the bigger companies probably need creative people, right? So, but definitely a lot of jobs will vanish. That is for sure, right? So, like today's example, you will agree, right? So, how quickly you can make those screen. It is all about how good you are at prompting, right? So I think 1 week of input is required on prompt engineering for all the students, irrespective of whether design or engineering. Everyone should, I think, learn how to effectively prompt. How to use prompt is extremely, and this is going to be an important skill of the future, right? So because we are going to be surrounded with so many agentic AI software, and it will take time for these agentic AI software to do a natural conversation with us. Yeah, it will take time because, I think 5 years, right? I see in next 5 years, almost all agentic AI will be able to do a natural conversation with human, and that is where I think the scary era will begin. And what kind of impact it will make on our life, I think it is very dangerous. It is very unpredictable as well. Because people talk about responsible design, but actually, if you look at an industry, yeah, who is making responsible design? Yeah, we see Amazon as an convenience, right? What Amazon is not selling product, Amazon is selling convenience. But if you look at the number of corrugated boxes Amazon uses a day, right? How much harm it is doing to the nature and sustainability? How many trees are being cut down to make those boxes? Yeah, how much of plastic they are using? Yeah, so there are larger issues people talk about, but the bigger companies will never try to attempt it because that is where they are getting their money from. Yeah, people talk of responsible AI. Who is responsible to design the responsible AI framework? OpenAI. Yeah, who supports OpenAI? Do you know? Microsoft. Yeah, 80% of the funding is given by Microsoft, and Microsoft wants to use it for the business. If they want to make a responsible AI, they could have make it, right. Google has a lot of AI platform, right? So they can make it. They will never make it. No, people only talk of all this. So idealistic world is very different than the harsh reality of the industries. The kind of opportunities that you have in the academic environment is amazing, right? You are not going to have these freedom and opportunity when you step into the industries. Yeah, they are not going to allow even a time, yeah, and the possible different directions. You will be instructed to do certain things, yeah, in a very shorter time. But see, this is I think the last 2 year of design education is where you should try to explore and experiment almost everything. Yeah, because you are not going to get this time back in your career. So whatever you want to say, take a direction in your DP or GP, do all your experiments. This is the best time you are in, right?
Hello, sir. So I wanted to ask, like you have done many like different fields, you had explored many different fields, right? So was it always a part of a plan, or it just unfold that way based on your interest?
See, it is, in fact, you always, in fact, the kind of projects that I have done is purely based on my interest, right? But when you start working on some project, you always have to be open to explore all the possible directions, right? Then that will open up many doors and windows for you. Yeah. So you just have to be open, right? So if you're rigid, because as I used to tell all that most of the students' projects are having the associative bias, right? And that is where you decide in the very first or second week of your project that what you want to do. Yeah, and you will mold your research to justify what you already have decided. You will do the research, you will try to connect all the dots in a way that what you have decided in the very first week, you will try to justify that. Yeah, and what it comes out as, you have done the design research, user research, and the outcome is so and so product, but actually it is the other way around. Yeah, you already have thought of something and then you have conducted the research to justify that. Yeah, so the one thing I think you have to be open uh, in terms of bringing various perspective, Yeah, and that is what the role of the mentor and facilitator is there, right? So help you to bring various perspective in your project. Yeah, because for example, if I want to teach design thinking, there are say 50 different speaker you will find from various universities with whom you can listen to these videos and learn what design thinking is, right? But no one will help you for a specific project to bring new perspective. Yeah, that only a mentor of the project can help. So the role of a teacher is also changing in the education. Yeah, because you have n number of sources. For example, I never teach tool to students in my class, right? I explore myself, right, to understand whether it is useful or not, and you just hand it over to the student, right? This is a good tool. Probably, if they find it okay to use it, they can learn it on its own, right? So it is so easy to learn tools these days because there are n number of resources available on internet to learn new things. But you always have to be open, right? So because if you do not experiment, for example, some of the tools that we have talked about, yeah, which especially CK theory is amazing, right? So even if you read it, yeah, it will change the way you think for your design project, and that is more important. Yeah, that is more important. Even if you do not know design thinking, for example, but if you know more about yourself, your thought process, your way of working, and if you are able to link all these things, great, right? You need not to be master of all these days. Yeah, we in fact are entering into a truly multidisciplinary world. Yeah, where a graphic designer working in an industry is not expected to deliver only on graphic design. Yeah, the industry is expecting you to deliver in a lot of other things as well. So never miss an opportunity, especially when you get an opportunity to work on the domain which you are not interested in. Yeah, at least as a student, you should explore it. Unless you explore, you'll never be able to create an interest.
So there was a question in the box. I'll read it out. Any resources, books, podcasts, blogs, or people that really shaped your thinking and you would like to share with the students to look upon?
Books on what?
Books, podcast, blogs, or people. Anything that shaped your thinking.
In fact, CK theory is a good starting point, right? And I'm going to upload a lot of these research papers which I have referred for my first chapter of this book on my website. So probably next 10-15 days it will be accessible, so which is in fact a good starting point. You will be able to refer more than 100 case studies and papers from that source, I think. But see, there are quite a few good books on user-centered design, right? So that is a good starting point, but it all depends on whether someone who is a beginner, intermediate, or expert in certain field. Yeah, if someone who is trying to enter into design and trying to just explore, I think they can start with the design thinking by Don Norman, yeah, creative confidence by David and Tom Kelly, right? These are good books to start with.
So the next question was your upcoming book designing experience for the next generation technology. Sounds like a big canvas. How did you go about collecting and choosing like which stories to include, like how it should come together?
I have been writing for almost more than a year, so I have reached half stage. Since when I started writing, I thought I'll be able to complete within a year, but then when I started interacting with people, understanding various technologies and all these things, now it seems that it is going to take another year now to complete that book. Uh, so In fact, see, when I was in new media design, I was always thinking that every semester we come across new technologies are there, yeah, new sensors are there. When we build any functional prototype, because like in new media design, all the students are expected to make a functional prototype. It is not only the non-working prototype that you have to make. You have to make a functional prototype, and that is where we end up understanding a lot of technologies. And every semester was a new challenge in terms of कि AR VR में नया आया है, ये आया है, वो आया है. So I thought कि यार it is so quickly changing. Everything around us is very quickly changing. So that is where I thought of writing this book before a year, that I should write something on this, which probably helps the technology STEM designer, as well as some of the sections that I have added is around ethics and privacy as well. So because see, technology is going to come in front of us in many different ways in next few years, and I personally think that this generation is not prepared to evaluate whether it is good or bad. Yeah, because we sometimes mindlessly use and consume a lot of things. And these, in fact, I have interacted with many bachelor students here at Ahmedabad campus as well, and a lot of master students in Gandhinagar campus as well. Understanding how much time they spend on various things, yeah, and what do they do, and so like there are a lot of things I sensed that um, this generation, in fact, is not capable of evaluating or not evaluating, that I'm unable to understand, but we mindlessly consume and use applications, right? So, and the content as well. So doom scrolling like people do, right? So all of these behavioral changes in this generation is going to be extremely harmful. And beyond user-centered design, there is nothing for the designers, right, in terms of understanding technology and all these things. So that is where I thought of like compiling technologies and design and then into one book which can help. So that is how I decided to write this book.
Sir, can you share a little bit about your process of book writing? Like, how do you plan it, or is there any AI partner in it?
No, AI, in fact, I have used AI to, like, I don't know how you guys do research, but so when you do research, you always look for the good quality research paper, right? So how do you find good quality research paper? So for example, if you find a good quality research paper, you always have to look at the citations, the bibliography and references. If there are say 40 odd references which are used to write that one good research paper, ideally you should have looked at all the 40 references as well, right? That will give you a further lead of other research paper as well. So it's a kind of an, everything is interconnected, right? So the good paper which is written with the reference of 40 good research paper which you are referring, which will give you another 500 references. So that is how I have done. Probably halfway through I might have read more than 700 research paper for writing 12 chapters of my book. Yeah, and this journey is really very complex. And to gain the insight, because see, every time it is impossible for you to read say 15 pages of a research paper, and then so that is where you can use AI, right? So there are quite a few AI platform which you can feed these research paper and which will help you to gain the insight of the paper. Yeah, what is, so it can summarize the paper in half page, right? You read first half page of summary. If you find it useful, you ask AI tools to dig it out more meaningful information, what exactly you are looking for. Yeah, so if technically, like before 1.5 years, I was literally reading the research paper and trying to figure it out everything. But in last 6 months, I'm using only AI tool. I'm not reading the research paper. I'm using AI tool to dig the required information and content from the research paper. Yeah, if I find it okay, otherwise I'll drop it.
So any more questions from the audience? Okay, so thank you so much, sir, for this insightful talk. Before we wrap up, we'd like to leave our audience with one final thought. Our last question to you is, what's one lesson you've learned the hard way in your design journey that you wish every student here could take with them today?
See, I think you should be open all the time, right? So, even on the last day of your project presentation, if you have a new perspective, always try to bring that perspective in your project. Yeah, never ever lose an opportunity, even on the last day of your project. If you have something else to be included, include it.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Pavitra. Thank you. I think Anika was writing an email to me, and who else was writing?
I was writing it down.
Anika and Uri. Yes, Anika and Uri. So good luck, all of you, right? So let me know if you are unable to find any speaker. I'll help you to connect with a lot of other people as well. You can just drop an email to me, right? Happy to help at any time. Yeah, good luck. And, bye bye.
Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Okay.
Bye bye.
It was an honor to have you here.
Okay, Anika. Bye bye. Bye.
Bye.